Every episode, I ask you to head to the website and ask me questions. And I love when people do that. So today, I've got a question that was asked through the website about the role of people in the federal government. So we'll discuss that next on a Ponders This episode of the Constitution Study.
There's one thing you have to know wherever you make your stand. Came from a long through line of everyday Americans.
Well, hello there once again. Paul Engel here with the Constitution Study, where we read and study the Constitution, where we answer questions and teach the rising generation to be free. I'm glad you could join me. As always, head over to the website, constitutionstudy.com. You can find out everything that's going on. You too can ask questions, and I'm trying to get a system set up where I can actually do the recording of the answering of these questions with the person asking them. So I'm still working out the details, which is why I haven't done it for this one. Hopefully we'll start seeing a little more interaction, which I hope you'll find interesting. Again, the website has where you can ask questions. It's where you can see where I'll be speaking. It's where you can invite me to come speak to your group. I love doing it. Even if I can't travel, maybe I can do it online. Would love the opportunity to speak to you and your groups. I'm always looking for opportunities to do that. You can find out what's going on with the book. Things are a little slow at the moment, but we're still trying to get that going, and some other things that are in the works. Hopefully by the end of the year, you'll start seeing some announcements. So with that, let's answer the question. The question was really more, what did I think about an idea? And the idea being that the American people are the fourth branch of government. And the example used was Amendment 6 and the jury system. The fact that when you are brought into court in violation of a law that was passed by Congress, it is up to the people in the jury to determine not only the facts of the case, but whether or not the law is properly applicable. So let me answer that question and expand on it a little bit. First, no, the people aren't a fourth branch of government. And let me explain to you why. You see that we, the people, are not actually part of the federal government. We aren't under its control. What do I mean? With the Constitution, we created a central government. We now call it the federal government, but if you read a lot of the older documents, it's referred to as the central government. It was created by the Constitution. We were not created as part of that. We are outside of it. We are over it. So the judicial branch, the legislative branch, the executive branch were all created. They are products of this compact that we call the Constitution of the United States of America. We are outside of that. And it's a very important reason why. See, if we were a product, if we were a part of this government, well, we'd be bound under the restrictions of the Constitution. Now remember, the Constitution not only creates the government, but the federal government, it creates the boundaries, the rules by which the federal government must act. And in many cases, it sets further limitations on how the states must act. But you know what it doesn't do? It doesn't set limitations on how the people act. The people are not part of the government, therefore we can't be a branch of the government. And in fact, if you think about it, if the federal government is the product of the U.S. Constitution, and the parties to that Constitution are the states. Now, the states each have their own constitution. The state governments are the product of their state's constitution, and the parties to that constitution are the people of that state. That means we, as the people, oversee the states, and the states oversee the federal government. There's a process there. There's a linkage there. That means the federal government has no legal authority to change the contract under which it was created and the rules by which it operates. Only the states have the authority to do that. And the states only have the authority to do that because the people of those states give that state the authority to do that. So I wanted to take the example that this person used of jury duty and the idea that, well, because we sit on a jury, therefore we're part of government. Well, that's not exactly true. See, if you look at the Fifth Amendment, talks about a grand jury. Before you can be charged with an infamous crime, you need to be indicted by a grand jury. Then you go to Article 6, or Amendment 6, where you have the criminal trial, where you have a jury that goes to sit. But remember, it is we the people, as the creators of the states that created the federal government, that will ultimately decide in that particular case whether or not, what the facts of the case are and what the law of the case is. Judges don't like it to tell us that, but it's called jury nullification. And it's the idea that if the federal government brings a case against someone and the law is either unconstitutional or just unconstitutionally applied, then it's up to we the people sitting on that jury to say, yeah, you may have made the facts of the case, but the law is deficient. Now, we can't overturn what Congress did, but we can refuse to apply it to a particular case. And the reason we can do that is because we are not subject to the federal government. If we were subjects of the federal government, if we were part of the federal government, we would have to abide by all of its rules. We're not. We are the creators, indirectly, of the federal government. You see, if we were a branch of the federal government, we would literally not be the creator of the government, we'd become the creation. So this idea of the people being the fourth branch of government, really, even if that were legally possible, how do you become part, how do you create something if you're a part of it and make your head explode? Temporal mechanics. But think about that. If you were if you were a product of the Constitution, if you were a part of the federal government, you wouldn't have any rights. You'd be ruled by a document called the U.S. Constitution. And by extension, you'd be ruled by a document called your state constitution. I know if you listen to some of these podcasts, I like the idea the people should be engaged. We should be overseeing our state governments and our federal governments, but we don't have to be a part of them to do it. But I love the thought process of saying, hey, yes, we need to be involved. We need to be engaged. Just not the idea of diminishing us to subjects of a document that we created. So I hope that made you think. Let me know what you think. To me, it's an interesting thought experiment. It shows people are thinking. And by the way, when I reply to this person via email, it's not derogatory. I'm not trying to beat you up. I'm trying to enlighten you. Take an idea and let's expand it. Let's think about everything about it. I love the fact that people are thinking. I love they're willing to come to me and get some information. Hopefully the information I'm providing is helpful to you. Most of all, I hope that you'll head to the website, constitutionstudy.com. I hope you'll ask your own questions. I hope you'll follow what we're doing on the book. I hope you'll sign up for the mailing list. I hope you'll take this message and share it with others. Do you have people who talk about people being the fourth branch of government? Well, share this episode with them. Let them know that here are the facts about that particular position. Use this as a reference. Help educate yourself. Help educate others. Most of all, come back next time and we'll discuss more about our rights and our responsibilities next time on the Constitution Study. Have a great day.
Every day, we're everyday Americans. Hold our own and call it home. Put it all on a little piece of land. Pay the bills, stay out of jail. Love the neighbors and have a few good friends.